Philippines and hello world. This is Danica, your news anchor. Today, we are witnessing an event on a global scale that all the news agencies are talking about, as well as the people who watch the latest episode of Shark Tank all over the world.
You've been going for 18 months and you got $4 million in sales.
The biggest deal in Australian Shark Tank history
That's a first.
is on the line.
You've got an absolute pair between your legs.
And it has the sharks out for blood.
Clearly you don't believe it.
Please no,
Please.
I am speaking.
Are you in or out?
I'm speaking.
Here is Rosemary Eugenio reporting live from the Shark Tank studio. Rosemary?
Today, Kane Bodium went on the third season of television series Shark Tank to bid for an investment for his company, iCapsulate. iCapsulate is an Australian coffee company. They make eco-friendly, biodegradable, and innovative capsulated coffee pods that are compatible in espresso machines. His initial bid was $2.5 million for a 15% stakeholder share. He secured a whopping $2.5 million deal for 22.5% from shark Andrew Banks.
Okay, Miss Eugenio, since you were there, what did you observe about the presenter and the investors?
Danica, what I witnessed today here inside the Shark Tank studio was really amazing. I observed many things from the shark investors as well as the presenter. First, I observed that Kane Bodium, the owner of iCapsulate, have the confidence to present his business. He is also on point with what he wants for the business and did not hesitate to state the facts about his product. In addition, he is always wearing a smile in his speech, even though he got rejected by the two investors. We all know that having confidence in the presentation can give a great impact on the investors. Being direct to what a presenter wants to say can lead to being focused on the goals they want to achieve, and having a smile on their faces can make the investors having an interest in them. This will be the greatest asset in achieving the goal. Meanwhile, Glenn made an offer of $2.5 million for 40% of the company. Aside from that, he is willing to give the mentoring and coaching support that the business needs. He also says that he is so experienced in taking companies from small to large and will make the company succeed. It is a very tempting offer, but I noticed that the 40% is a large share. On the other hand, Steve Baxter is curious on the inferior coffee that the business is selling. So, he asked questions regarding the manufacture cost and he is not convinced by the answer. It's a good technique that he is asking these questions because it is for the sake of his money for investment. As expected, he did not invest in the business. In contrast, Naomi Simpson comes with a different offer from Glenn Richards because she knows that the company needs the marketing skills. She offers $2.5 million for 33.3% stake. It's a good offer because it has the ability to market the business. Andrew Banks says that the presented coffee business is amazing. However, he don't like the valuation because he thinks that it is risky. With that, he made an offer of $2.5 million for a 25% of the company at first. In my opinion, it is a good offer, and the best thing in it is the fact that Mr. Banks studied the presentation very well. He knows that the offer that Kane wants is risky. I am Rosemary Eugenio, live in Shark Tank Australia. Back to studio.
Wow, I also watched that episode and it was the most nerve-wracking negotiation deal in the history of Shark Tank Australia. Thank you, Miss Eugenio. Due to the latest episode of Shark Tank Australia, billionaires around the world have spoken and commented through video that was posted on their timeline. The billionaires are Mr. Shir Gates, founder of Microsoft, Ms. Danny Ellison, co-founder of Oracle Corporation, Ms. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla Motors, and Mr. Josh Bezos, the executive chairman of Amazon.
The biggest investment secured in Shark Tank history is Kane Bodium's iCapsulate business, a coffee pod manufacturer specializing in capsules, pods, and roasted beans. Kane's initial ask was $2.5 million in return for a 15% equity stake. Seeking $2.5 million for 15% stake, they'll use it at $16.6 million, and this business has a long of 1.5 years ago. Andrew is the first one who offers $2.5 million for 25% company or stake, and he's going to work on making the other 75% very valuable. Glenn is the second one who gave his offer, $2.5 million for the 30% stake, and I will give to you the mentoring and the coaching support you need to go exponential with this business. Noemi is the third one who gave his offer, $2.5 billion for 33% stake. So now, Kane has 3 offer options which have different offer to him. Kane's counter offer was $2.5 million for 20% stake. After a few minutes, Kane went out and picked up his fiancée, and also to be able to talk about what offer they will accept. And he returned. Noemi came with basically in the ability to market with us and also being local. Glenn was the ability to upscale. And Andrew, you have the ability for the US. And it was really difficult where we'd come to one. I have still seen it was. We're sitting on Andrew, and I spoke to all this here, and it was to see if you could do 20% for the $2.5 million. And Andrew says, I'm buying a big growth story about 22.5% for $2.5 million, and they agreed on it. Poor Andrew, what an awesome deal, I know, right? Well, I'm going to have the best coffee in town. Andrew also said, you know, at the end of the day, what's important is what the business is worth in 2 or 3 years from now. After making offers and when finally comes that Kane meets his counter offer, Andrew gets Kane's iCapsulate business. Their transaction went well because Kane met his target offer for his business. Kane holds the largest investment in the entire Shark Tank history.
So the business valuation. Kane Bodium, the CEO of iCapsulate, offered a great business proposal for sharks, requesting a massive investment of $2.5 million for 15% of the company's trade, valuing it at $16.6 million. The sharks are struck by this idea as it seems like the most extensive offer in the Shark Tank. Then he mentioned that his company produces currently 35 million capsules in pods per annum. A business valuation is not a measure of how much the company will eventually be worth, or even what it's worth today. It is instead used to figure out how much ownership an investor should receive in exchange for cash to help that company grow. On the show, the sharks object to the entrepreneurs pitching for investment result to high valuation. So they make their own offers based on much lower valuations. Andrew Banks, the first to make an offer, thinks that the valuation has risk involved. So, he offered a $2.5 billion for 25% for Kane's company, valuing it at $10 million. For the other 75%, Banks stated that he will work for it to make it very valuable. Glenn Richards' offer is $2.5 million for 40% stake, valuing it at $6.25 million. He based it on the work and in the revenue of the iCapsulate company gained for the past year. The third shark to make an offer is Naomi Sisson. Naomi stated that she valued her marketing skills, and the shark believed that Kane Boojam need the marketing for his company, iCapsulate. The offer is $2.5 million in return for a 33.3% equity stake, valuing it at $7.5 million. Kane Boojam got 3 offers from the Shark Tank. Kane chose the deal offered by Andrew Banks, but he countered the offer with 20% for the $2.5 million, valuing it at $12.5 million. In the end, Boojam settled on Banks' counter offer of 25.5% equity stake for $2.5 million, valuing it at $11.1 million.
I am literally a huge fan of Shark Tank's Australia, and in this episode, I was amazed at the negotiation skills of the shark investors between the owner of iCapsulate. The negotiations in this episode were nerve-wracking on making a deal on investment. On starting the negotiation, Mr. Boojam begins by stating the iCapsulate sales and the $4 million revenue in 1.5 years, which caught the shark investors' attention. He also stated that he had an investor who offered him $25 million for the iCapsulate, but he declined because he believes that iCapsulated coffee is worth much more. The negotiations began with Miss Janine Alice, who was forced to back out of the deal due to the competing interests in owning a coffee shop. Another investor, Steve Baxter, declined to offer a deal. Despite these two shark investors' refusals, the remaining sharks were free to compete and match each other's offers. The shark investor who made an offer was Naomi Simpson, who offered $2.5 million for 33.3%. However, iCapsulate tapped it out beyond her ability to upscale the business. Next was Glenn, who offered Boojam the same amount for a 40% stake, believing that the iCapsulate owner would need to put a significant amount of work into the business. But the iCapsulate also declined to accept the offer. The two offers from shark investors were declined because iCapsulate was eyeing Mr. Andrew Banks' offer, which was $2.5 million for 25%. The iCapsulate owner, on the other hand, demanded a 5% reduction from the 25% deal to make it 20%. Boojam eventually settled for $2.5 million for 22.5% after a 20% counter offer with Mr. Andrew Banks, securing the largest deal in Shark Tank history after a diligence process. So, in this kind of business world, this kind of negotiation of deals will lure entrepreneurs and businessmen to accept these amazing offers.
iCapsulate made headlines in July 2017 when Morgan & Banks founder Andrew Banks pledged the check to Kane Boojam for 22.5% of his business, the biggest on-camera deal on Shark Tank's history. But, unfortunately, the arrangement was still in due diligence 8 months after the deal was signed, and the future of capital infusion was cast into doubt after a number of competing Australian coffee pod producer called out iCapsulate for making a number of very questionable comments on the show. According to Bodium, the company has a contract with the largest coffee companies in Australia and New Zealand, which was denied by some coffee companies and said, "We are not aware of a single major retail store in Australia from which a customer can purchase a coffee capsules packed by iCapsulate."
It was overwhelming to capture the attention of well-known billionaires by having a great business innovations. Using the hashtag iCapsulate and hashtag SharkTankAUS, it goes on the first and second spot, followed by the hashtag Halalan2K22. In Student Says What segment, we interviewed a college student at one of the prestigious university. We interviewed Joshua Katigbak, a first-year BSBA student majoring in financial management, about what he is learning about the latest Shark Tank episode.
As a business student, the most important things I learned from this activity that will help me stand out from the crowd in the business world are hard work and complete dedication to your business. Based on the video of the biggest deal in Shark Tank history, Kane Bojam is the owner of coffee pod company iCapsulate. He went on the third season of the television series Shark Tank to bid for an investment for his company iCapsulate. As a business student, I learned a lot from this video on how to communicate or speak to investors, whether you're a startup or already have an established business. Investors are one of the most important assets in a company because they determine how much capital will be directed toward your venture. And most of the essential points that I learned in this video are all about talking to an investor, discussing the product or services of your business, explaining why an investor is important to your company, having a concise speech and being honest about all the details of your business. And while you're talking to an investor, think about the words you choose, the context you provide, and how you frame information. It's the best way to talk to investors so you can build their confidence in your company. Also, these investors need to know why you need their money at this particular moment. That may mean you have to explain where you are in the development process for a new product. To clarify why you need funds, you may have to discuss plans to expand your business, hire more people, or acquire a competitors.
It was encouraging to hear that this Shark Tank can bring learning and inspire everyone, especially those students who have chosen to pursue a career in business. Alright, thank you Mr. Katigbak. And that's all the news for this hour. We will be back with more hot news update. I'm Danica Kume. Keep it here in News Online.